and let us all do we can to build a better future.
A special election took place in New York State, and AOC was on CNN. And the thing is, this was the most awkward, cringe-inducing interview in regards to seeing somebody who was perceived as an individual that would shake things up in Washington, D.C. I remember the 2018 midterm election cycle. I remember what that election represented, or at least what was being presented towards all of us. Somebody who was a progressive, the aftermath of the Bernie Sanders campaign of 2016, won a key election and shook everything up. Everything was turned upside down. It was the beginning of what I think a lot of us hoped for was perhaps maybe the Democratic Party finally being reformed. Now, looking back at it now, hindsight is 2020 after all. We were wrong. I know I was wrong. I made a judgment, and I thought that maybe we had individuals ready to shake things up. When you watch this interview, you are seeing somebody who's made a career now in politics in Washington, D.C., and still holding on to the concept of Donald Trump is the end-all, be-all threat to democracy. And the thing is, when we look at this election and how it's going to play out, it's very clear to me that the DNC convention in Chicago will be one of which there's going to be a ruckus. There's going to be back and forth. And myself and Keen talked about this on Due Dissidence last night. And I'm in the firm belief that no, Biden will not be the nominee. It's going to somehow take place at the DNC convention. There is going to be a back and forth battle of who's going to get the nomination. Perhaps. It will be very historic, and I'm glad that it's happening in Chicago and Hardlands Media will be there. But AOC has the audacity to say live on air that no, Biden's going to be the nominee. He's going to go all the way through. Tell me, folks, what could possibly go wrong? So let's join our friends at CNN of all places and see this interview that tells you that, or AOC tells you, that the prospect of a Donald Trump election is not a game. It's nothing to make fun of, even though I am going to make fun of it. Brace yourself, folks. And I apologize. This might kill your soul.
Now is one of the most high-profile members of the New York congressional delegation, Democratic Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it. Do we have the latest votes? We don't have those yet? Okay, so let me just dive into the interview. So President Biden won this district by 8 points in 2020. Now, former Congressman Tom Suozzi, a Democrat, is trying to get it back. But he's distanced himself from Biden. He didn't want his endorsement. He didn't want him to campaign with him. Do you think that's okay if that's what swing battleground district Democrats need to do to win?
Well, I think our main prerogative is to win the House back.
Now, this is you're going to hear her say the main prerogative is to win the House back. But this guy who was seeking re-election or seeking this special House election, sorry for that stutter, distanced himself from Biden and the squad. He might as well have run as a Republican. But this is what I mean when you are wasting your time with the Democratic Party. And yes, to an extent, wasting your time with the Republican Party. It's all about gaining seats in power. It's all about having seats. But the thing is, what happens when the Democrats get their majority? What happens when the Democrats have everything working in their favor? Well, we have a prime case example of nothing getting done. Roe v. Wade not being codified. A public option for the Obamacare. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to bring up the Obama presidency. There was a point early on in his administration when the Democrats not only had the White House, but they had the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. A lot of things could have gotten done. But what was always the excuse? There was always what? Blue dog Democrats, conservative Democrats. The Democrats are a party of it's a big tent party. They really can't get things done. Or wait, we need to vote for more progressive Democrats. So please help us out. But we really can't fight each other. So yes, the same back and forth. A narrow-minded view. Tunnel vision. It's all about getting seats for AOC. We're going to rewind that just a little bit so all of you can hear it again.
I think that's okay if that's what swing battleground district Democrats 2020. Now, former Congressman Tom Suozzi, a Democrat, is trying to get it back. But he's distanced himself from Biden. He didn't want his endorsement. He didn't want him to campaign with him. Do you think that's okay if that's what swing battleground district Democrats need to do to win?
Well, I think our main prerogative is to win the House back. I know that former Representative Swazi, he knows his district, he knows his territory. But I also think we can acknowledge the fact that we don't have to be afraid to be Democrats either. As you mentioned, President Biden won this seat by 8 points. That is not one.
So we don't have to be afraid to be Democrats, which means we don't have to be afraid of letting our constituents down. You see, the Democrats right now are assuming that everyone's just going to vote for them because they're not the Republicans, or either that it's because Trump right now is running. So they're just going to assume everyone's going to fall in line. So screw ideology, screw the whole concept of trying to shake the system from within. It's all about right now working together, rainbows and sunshines and smiles all around. Is it no surprise that the great coalition that was started in 2016 has fractured to the point where it can never be rebuilt again?
Or 2 or 3, that is a significant margin. And we also can run up the numbers with an enormous amount of enthusiasm, especially in a special election like this, which is really about a base race between the two parties, getting out your most enthusiastic voters, especially on a snowstorm like this. And that's with messages on everything from abortion rights to making sure that we're having just solutions and comprehensive solutions on immigration that don't also have to just be on the defense.
So Mazi Pilip, the Republican running, has tried to paint Swazi as a member of.
Now, this is pure gold. It's outstanding and pure gold. Because the Republican contender is going to try and put Swazi, sorry about that, as the equivalent or being associated with the squad. And he says, no, I'm not with those people. He starts bad-mouthing them and dismissing them. Listen to how AOC responds to it. It's sort of like, yeah, I know. He wrote some graffiti about us in the bathroom stall, but, he's still really a nice guy, and we got to support all Democrats because we're all friends at the end of the day.
Of the squad, which is your progressive group. In their debate, Swazi distanced himself from you and the squad. He said, for you to suggest that I'm a member of the squad is about as believable as you being a member of George Santos's volleyball team, unquote. What do you make of her trying to tar him as a member of the squad?
I would agree with Tom Swazi, the idea that we are, that we're part of the same kind of cadre in Congress is.
But you're part of the Democratic Party. All right. And there's this false notion that, there's progressives in the Democratic Party. What he just did, AOC, is spit in your face and you said, hey, thanks. He slapped you and you said, hey, thanks. He kicked you in the gut and you said, hey, thanks. So in other words, when this guy sits in the Congress, you want to know what's going to happen? He's not going to be your friend. And don't be surprised if he decides to vote Republican. Yes, there have been Democrats in Congress that have voted with Republicans. Majority of the time, this isn't anything unheard of. But hey, we need to get more Democrats in Congress.
Incorrect. It's wrong. But that doesn't mean that we're not on the same team. We're part of a Democratic coalition that's a broad base.
The coalition.
But I think it also shows that.
Oh, the great coalition. The great coalition. The coalition that stands together. The great coalition that does nothing, that just says things you want to hear and then tells you, hey, can you donate $10, $15, $20? Hey, show of hands. Let's have democracy in the chat. Have you recently got any emails from the Democratic Party? Type 1 for, no, Kit, I haven't. But if they do, I'll let you know. Type 2, man, I still get emails. Curses upon you, Bernie Sanders, you rat bastard. Because it never stops. I know I get them. I wonder how many 2s we're going to get in the chat. I wonder.
Mazi's desperate. You don't go for those enormous reaches that are frankly so laughable, especially to the people of Queens and Long Island who know Tom Swazi. He had 80% name ID going into this race. To claim something like that in a backyard that knows him it really shows that they're reaching and that they're pretty desperate to try to land a punch there.
Well, the way he's been campaigning is he sounds like a conservative Queens or Long Island Democrat. That's what he sounds like. He sounds conservative on the border. What do you make of that, and what do you make of the border issue as the last week has played out? And Republicans originally demanded border be added to the foreign aid bill, and then they didn't want the border compromise that probably was too conservative for you, I would think. And now they're even rejecting to vote on the foreign aid bill. Talk about the border part of it, and then we'll talk about foreign aid.
Well,
Okay, so hold on. AOC, you do realize that the kids are still in cages, and you do realize that many of the sanctuary cities are right now incapable of providing relief and aid to the people that have been put up in these cities. It is also leading to intense engagements with the people, the residents of said sanctuary cities and their city government. It's also leading to potentially further escalation as citizens and migrants are eventually going to start butting heads. This is not a recipe for success. And yet, people like AOC, who ran on emotions, high on emotions, because Donald Trump said some mean things on Twitter, have put us in this very precarious situation. I wonder when she's going to visit the border again.
I mean, it's a gamble, but also this district is,
And this is what you call word salad too.
very complex. It's right here in our backyard in New York City. You have a district that spans parts of New York City and Queens, but also reaches all the way out to Nassau County. There are parts of this district that are quite conservative and parts of this district that are very, very progressive. And so to be able to thread that needle and try to achieve turnout is a very challenging it's a very challenging, feat to be able to accomplish. Now,
In this word salad, she's going to somehow give a quick answer and then move on to something else.
I do think that we need to be careful to not demobilize parts of the Democratic coalition, especially young voters, voters of color, because you have to run up your numbers in places like Queens in order to help buttress against any evenness in Nassau County.
That didn't answer the question. It really didn't. But on top of that, AOC, and I think it's important for us to remember this, the coalition is falling apart. Young people are dismissing Biden and the Democrats. If the Democrats win this election cycle, it will be a miracle. Really, truly, it will be. Perhaps maybe enough people could be bullied to be afraid of Donald Trump again. It could happen. The Democrats' tried and true method of, instead of making your lives better, we're going to bully you and make you feel bad about yourself, so you vote for our guy Biden, or whoever the nominee will be, because we got to stop Trump, the orange boogeyman, the man outside the house with an axe who's waiting to crack down the door and chase you around. Speaking of Trump, let's go ahead and I'm going to fast forward this part right here. Folks, brace yourself. Horrible point. And horrible pausing point right here for AOC. But okay, hang on. We're going to talk about Trump, third parties, and why this is no joke, because it's not a game. It's not a game because Trump, the orange man, is coming.
Why? Why would we do that?
So before you go, there have been a lot of questions, especially since that special counsel report last week that cleared President Biden of any wrongdoing legally, but certainly impugned his memory. And that came on the heels of just a few days before him talking about conversations he had in 2021 with world leaders who had died several years before that. He was confusing world leaders. Tom Suozzi told a local news station when this question was raised about Biden, quote, "The bottom line is he's old. I mean, he's 81 years old."
Yes, he's old. Uh-oh. And remember, AOC right off the bat, just like Bernie Sanders, they endorsed him right away. Now, the DNC convention will be very interesting. And I know there's a lot of people who have different opinions. Perhaps either that they're going to pick a nominee during the convention, or it's going to happen afterwards in which the superdelegates weigh in. Or worst case scenario, if the Democrats really are that mentally ill, they're going to run old man Biden all the way to the finish line, which if they do that is downright pathetic. But let's listen to AOC's answer.
He wouldn't say, Suozzi, whether Biden would be the Democratic nominee at the party convention in August. Do you have any concerns about his age? Do you have any concerns about whether or not he should be the nominee?
I mean,
I like that look that she's giving. Like, am I concerned about his age? Here, let's rewind that here real quick.
Biden would be the Democratic nominee at the party convention in August. Do you have any concerns about his age? Do you have any concerns?
Well,
about what?
I really should, but I don't want to upset Mama Bear, okay? Because Mama Bear will throw like a glass jar at my head.
Whether or not he should be the nominee.
I mean, I think right now, when it comes to the president's age, folks are talking about how he's 81, but we have to look at, first of all, Donald Trump is around the same age as
70.
He's 77. And hey, it comes right down to Donald Trump again. Are you concerned about Biden's mental well-being? Are you concerned about his age? Well, that's a really good point. But did you know that Donald Trump exists? Did you know that Donald Trump just walked down the stairs? Did you know Donald Trump just ate a piece of pizza?
27, yeah.
He's 77 years old. They could have gone to high school together. And beyond that, Donald Trump has 91 indictments. And what I know who I'm going to choose. It's going to be one of the most successful presidents in modern American history that passed the Inflation Reduction Act, that got us the...
Wait a minute, AOC. Can you repeat that again? Can you repeat that again one more time? Hold on.
Together. And beyond that, Donald Trump has 91 indictments. And what I know who I'm going to choose. It's going to be one of the most successful presidents in modern American history.
Successful president in modern American history. All right. Let's talk about it. Okay. We got a crumbling economy. We got a crumbling infrastructure. We're in numerous conflicts right now. Or either that the U.S. Treasury, our wonderful U.S. government is funding these conflicts. That's right. All of our hard-earned money going away. Ukraine, Gaza, Yemen. There's also poking a little instigation in a little place you might not have heard of it, Taiwan. So, okay, ridiculous conflict still ongoing. We got politicians doing insider trading. We have a migration crisis. Nothing for student debt forgiveness, nothing for Medicare for all. Before anyone types about student debt forgiveness, how many people are truly able to get their debt truly free? And how much more do they have to pay on it? We got a housing crisis. You got a crisis for small business owners. We have cities that are struggling because not only are they losing money, not only is it impossible to live or rent or even have a family, but also for the fact that, yes, the sanctuary city model is failing. So what kind of success do we have? And what does it also say about this administration in which we have a president who struggles to remember things, who struggles to present even a solid, coherent sentence? The most successful president, but hey, you got to vote for him because Trump. People want to compare Trump to Hitler. He's not. He's not that person. And people are offended by the words that Trump says. Well, you know what? I've seen worse people on social media. We all have. Trump, he's nothing new. But according to AOC, we're going to rewind it. Oh, we got to be worried about him. We got to vote for him because he's more successful.
Donald Trump has 91 indictments. And what I know who I'm going to choose. It's going to be one of the most successful presidents in modern American history that passed the Inflation Reduction Act, that got us the American Rescue Plan, that ensured that we could pass one of the largest federal investments in climate change in U.S. history. And as far as we go, as we know, virtually all the filing deadlines have passed. There's already been a primary. Voters have outright rejected Dean Phillips. President Biden is going to be the Democratic nominee, and hopefully he'll be reelected as president.
I'm going to save this video because after the DNC convention, I'm very curious to see how it's going to play out. There's many people with different opinions, but I'm in the camp of they very well could pull something off at the convention. I know it might cause further maybe people being antagonistic towards one another. It could cause the convention to riot, but there's no way. If there truly are individuals in the Democratic Party that still have functioning brain cells, they know that there's something wrong with Biden. He's not mentally fit. His advanced age, his mental decline, the American people are going to see it. We're not stupid. And even corporate media's shield wall can't protect Biden. But according to AOC, hey, he's going to be the nominee. Why? Because she betted on him right away. She endorsed him right away, just like Bernie Sanders, his good friend.
In the United States.
Are you worried at all about these challenges from the left? Jill Stein, Cornel West. I don't know where RFK Jr. is. Whether
Yep. The fear of third parties. Hang on.
We know virtually all the filing deadlines have passed. There's already been a primary. Voters have outright rejected Dean Phillips. President Biden is going to be the Democratic nominee, and hopefully he'll be reelected as president of the United States.
Are you worried at all about these challenges from the left? Jill Stein, Cornel West. I don't know where RFK Jr. is, whether he's left, right, or center, but there is a real fear that they could take votes away from Biden.
That is real. That is real, especially in states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, critical swing states. But we need to understand what we are staring down in this country.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, because they could take away critical votes from Biden. First of all, those votes that either go to Dr. Cornel West, that go to Dr. Jill Stein, that go to RFK Jr., or whoever the Libertarian candidate nominee is going to be, or whoever other independent candidates are there, those votes are going to those said candidates because they earn those said votes. They're not stealing. They're not undermining Biden. They are running their campaign the way they see fit, as they should. But we have to look at the threat of Trump. Because somehow he's going to make things worse.
Donald Trump is elected president of the United States. We do not know if there will be a verifiable next election that has integrity. He already tried to, we saw on January 6th, he tried to overturn the results of a presidential election by force, by inciting.
That hasn't been proven. Okay. January 6th, I'm forever going to hate that day. She has to bring it up to January 6th because somehow that was the day democracy almost could have died. No. When the Supreme Court legalized bribery thanks to Citizens United and McCutcheon's decision, that's when democracy died, okay? This whole idea that Trump is indicating that there won't be another election. Well, gee, whose administration is doing everything they can to prevent him from being on the ballot, at least under their administration's watch? And gee, I guess it's a lot of Democrats in some key Democrat states where there's electoral college votes at stake. You know, also at the same time, too, it's not only Donald Trump that has to deal with potentially being kicked off the ballot. It's also what's happening to third parties and independents. So who is AOC to really say that Trump is going to be the guy that's going to gut check democracy or make sure that we don't have any more elections when all that's happening right now under Biden?
And I think we need to be very, very realistic about the grave impacts of a Donald Trump election. It is not a joke. It is not a game. We need to protect our democracy, and ideally, it's going to be on progressive values.
Progressive values that have never been implemented, fought for, or done anything about. So let's actually talk about the special election, because now here we go. Shout out to Case Study QB. I don't know how you sit through this stuff, man. Case Study, you made out of stronger stuff than I am.
He told Biden not to come and was critical of Biden on the trail, saying, look, his age is a problem, and I don't even know if he'll stick it out. I mean, that's sacrilege for Democrats in some parts of the country. He said that in New York, and he ran as a centrist. And he even said, I've been running against my party for a long time. I'm a moderate. We need centrism. When Democrats swing too far to the left, they get too extreme. We run into problems. He was pro-Israel. He was, as you said, an immigration hawk. He talked about crime. He said Democrats need to acknowledge those problems.
He might as well run as a Republican, but okay. But this isn't anything new. He's another blue dog Democrat. I've seen plenty of them here in Chicago, and I'm pretty sure all of you have seen them in your state as well. So what's new about this guy? He's just like any other corporate Democrat. And he sees the fact. I'll give him credit for this. He knows that there's something wrong with Biden. And it takes a lot of courage to actually do that. Now, will he make a lot of good friends with the Democratic establishment or those that still hold on to hope for Biden? Well, good luck. Good luck. All in all, this is the face of the Democratic Party. It's business as usual. That's why I'm in the camp of they're going to do something at the convention. It'll be unseen or unheard of, But we saw this actually play out in 1968, and Keaton from Due Dissidence brought it up when I was on his show last night. I wonder what happened during the 1968 convention. It's probably nothing important. After all, what's there to riot about?
That's how you win with an unpopular president. And that's not great news for Biden. That's maybe not great news for some progressives. Again, special election, unique circumstances. But that's a playbook. And for the Republicans, I think Mitch McConnell coined this term a while ago, candidate quality matters. Now, Philip wasn't a kook, but she wasn't a household name. She had some very confusing policies that she struggled to explain.
Abortion.
She was especially.
Yeah. Again, wait, whose administration did Roe v. Wade die under? Trump or Biden? Oh, right. Biden. But hold on, folks. I'll leave this as a final note. Something for all of you to ponder on. Van Jones talks about the big tent Democrat Party versus Trump controlling the Republican Party. His exact words are, "We have a very healthy party."
This idea that all Democrats are these far left progressives that are, all socialists and all what, that's not our party. We've got.
Thank you. We've been saying that for a long time. So please, conservatives, Trumpers, libertarians, all right? Please stop. So, sometimes it's now just like a joke, like, oh, you're with the communist Democrats. And I'm like, no. First of all, I'm not a communist because I've been told I'm a fascist by socialists or communists. The Democrats don't like me. I'm politically homeless. Please stop saying progressives are Democrats because we're not. Trumpers, Fox News people. Okay, the Democrats don't care about progressive values. Please hear me. You don't have to pick up my texts. You don't have to look at my text. You don't have to pick up my phone call. Just pay attention to my smoke signals that I'll be sending, okay? The progressives and Democrats, two different things altogether. Just like when Tony Soprano's explaining to Bobby Balak about the Hunchback of Notre Dame and and Notre Damus. Two different things altogether. Notre Dame and Nostradamus. Two different things altogether. Great scene. I love that.
Base black
Quasimodo, he predicted all of this.
voters that are quite conservative on a bunch of issues. We have a big tent party. And people get attention in our party who are on the extremes, but we got a big tent. The problem, I think, on the Republican side is they're being forced by one guy to toe one line on everything. And that now Republicans can't even deliver on immigration because one guy, Donald Trump, doesn't want them to. So I think the flexibility in our party that you could have Democrats excited to see AOC on our air tonight and also excited this guy won. That's a healthy party.
No, this is not a healthy party at all. It's a hypocritical party.
We have a healthy party.
Yes. Keep living in that world of delusion. So what can we take away from this? Well, first of all, Trump is the threat. He's the bad guy, according to AOC. Third parties are going to impact the election, according to AOC. And hey, the new Democrats that are coming in that are being dismissive of the squad, I think we're going to witness a couple of squad members get kicked out, get voted out. After all, the reach of AIPAC is very long. And if AIPAC wants you removed, be you Democrat or Republican, they're going to make sure that it is done. You see, members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, you lost your voting base. You lost your support. The diehard progressives and independents that were inspired from 2016 and 2020, they're gone. You made it abundantly clear to a lot of them that you weren't going to fight for the issues that they wanted, that you weren't going to challenge Democrat leadership, and people would have showed up. Just like how Trump kept his political movement together. And yes, I'm going to bring up Donald Trump's political movement. Because, yes, we all know Trump, like any other politician, is going to tell things that he wants his supporters to hear. But he kept his organization together. He made sure to inspire his supporters so that they, in turn, come out, support him, share his content and so much more, and message on social media. And more importantly, go out to vote. VOTE. That's the key word of the day. Vote, vote, vote. That's what they're going to do. Are the Democrats really holding out for hope that everyone's going to turn out to support Biden or whoever the Democrat nominee will be. And I will say that again, whoever the Democrat nominee will be, because there's no denying that Biden's mental health is going to play a key factor in regards to how the DNC convention will play out. Are they really hoping that the fear of Trump is going to get people to turn out to vote? And the answer is, unfortunately, yes. That's all what they have. What we've witnessed in that video with AOC is somebody who maybe went into Washington full of idealism and hope and went down the same path that her mama bear did. Become any other politician and give out word salads. Electoral politics, folks. You're always going to be disappointed. And I'm so sorry to share that with you.